This might be weird to say, but as a huge Eric Johnson fan, I've actually always kind of steered away from Cliffs of Dover. My kind of go-to tune for Eric Johnson has always been Manhattan. And I didn't really like the tune Cliffs of Dover, but I've been looking into it a bit more recently because actually it's got some really key moments that he plays from the record, and a lot of the time Eric Johnson is improvising. So there's certain things that where I've heard like a record, I'm thinking like, I wonder how he did that. The cool thing about Cliffs of Dover is there's so many versions of him playing it live that you can actually see like how he's navigating certain bits and pieces. And this is just one example of the lick from that, which I think actually has some really cool things going on. So of course, Patreon will be the place to grab the tab for this and the backing track. So this channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. So, we're talking about this moment, and it sort of starts up here. Of course, Cliffs of Dover, we're in G major, right? And we start with this. So that's an F sharp, which is the 7th, and then that's the 9, the A there. So, and that's the first part of the lick that jumped out at me, because I was like, well, that actually sounds pretty kind of open and fresh. So we're going 14, 17, 12, 15, 12. So we just got one note there that is outside of the E minor pentatonic or G major pentatonic, which is that. Actually really hard to play in a loop because you're starting. You could start it on your ring finger and then it would. Right, okay, so. And then our next kind of phrase, we go like this. So 15, bend to 17, back down to 15, 12, 14, and then that F sharp an octave down at the 11th fret. And by this point, this is when I'm starting to think, actually, I think what Eric is thinking for this, even though we're in G, he's kind of just playing a B minor pentatonic phrase. Like, it's doing that sort of thing, but with some extra cascades. But that's the basic kind of thing going on here, right? So we are literally just in G major, playing a B minor pentatonic. And so that's one thing that I took from this, and it has that more open sound. Okay, so where does it go from here? So we're now down to this 11th fret, and then we're going to be in now the D major box shape. So, okay, and then 12, 10, 11, 9, 12, 9. So anyone who's done like pentatonic shred stuff, you've probably done these kind of things. You know, where you're doing 6 notes. Certainly, there's a long chunk of my childhood spent doing that. And then, this is the kind of weird part to do fast. He jumps with his index finger. So yeah, it goes. So down the pentatonic scale from 7, 9, 7, 9, 7, 9, open D, and then down to the G. Thing worth mentioning here, another way that we could play it. Instead of going down to here, we could go, and he might even be doing that, I can't quite tell. Twelve, 10, 11, 9, 12, 9, and then 11, 9, 7, 9, 7, 9, D, G. I think that suits me a bit better. Beautiful kind of cascading sound to it, especially over a G. It's super slow to start off with and try and keep it pretty even. And what we can take from the lick, I guess, aside from it just being a straightforward lick, is that if we're playing in G major, using B minor pentatonic kind of vibes, can kind of give us that more open sound and gives us access to that major 7 or the 9 if we're thinking about it as E minor. And when I heard it driving up to meet my buddy Dave on the M5, I was just like, I need to break that lick down. It's just such a cool, something I wanted to get into my own playing. So that's that little lick. I think it's got a really cool sound to it. It's kind of accessible for an Eric Johnson piece as well. That trickiest part is going to be where you're jumping like that. I wouldn't necessarily worry about picking it exactly like Eric unless you want to get really deep into that rabbit hole. So just pick it whichever way is comfortable for you is what I'd suggest. It's kind of working okay for me in whatever I'm doing. So I'll catch you in another video soon. Patreon to grab the tab and the backing track. I'll catch you around. Cheers.